I'm Vic Chapman, I'm a Euralia man. So in the next half hour or so I'll be talking to you, Lowanna, about your journey, your educational journey.
My name's Lowanna and I'm a Gamillaroi woman from Brewarrina and Walgett, that's where my families are from. Right. And my educational journey has been an interesting one, and I guess the moments that were significant, there was a pivotal point where I was deciding, you know, whether I wanted to go down a successful life path or if I wanted to go down a life path that was going to be not very successful. So I sort of could see all the things that were going on in my community at a young age. So I remember noticing things, you know, at a primary school level and disagreeing with them and thinking to myself, you know, I would like more for my life than that. So I guess one pivotal point was when I was 12 years old, I got offered a scholarship to go to an all-girls Anglican boarding school at Waverley. And that was a big moment for me because I had to make a decision to leave my family in the hope to get access to a better education. So I wasn't only leaving my family behind, I was leaving my community, which I was so comfortable within, and going into a whole different community. So that was a significant point. And basically I got through boarding school, and I guess the next significant point was the day I turned up to my interview at Nurragilly, and I was interviewed by Bill Buckley, and he told me straight after my interview, he gave me a little whisper and said, you know, I think you got this interview now. So I went home and I, you know, had a big cry to my mum and was like, I think I'm going to university. And yeah, I have to say that opportunity to go to boarding school and get educated at a high school level and then to go on to university, you know, has really set me up and been extremely significant. But I don't think that journey would have taken place without noticing all the things that were going on in my community that I didn't want to lead that lifestyle. Connection to your community is extremely important. Being Indigenous is who I am and makes me, you know, the boisterous person I am, and adds to all my success. And, you know, I have to keep a connection with the community because that's what keeps me sane, type thing. You know, that's what keeps me alive and happy. And throughout my educational journey so far, that's one thing I've always made sure I maintained, because I just found myself naturally going back to my community because that's where I belong. So in terms of, you know, important community, I've grown up in the Sydney metropolitan area for most of my life, so I've had strong connections to Redfern Waterloo community and also the La Perouse community as well. So both communities, you know, I identify with both of them in Sydney. And throughout my educational, you know, as young as all the way from boarding school to now, I've always gone back to the community. And I'm lucky enough, my mum, she worked in the community as well, so during school holidays I'd go down and I'd just, you know, be in the community centre amongst all the kids, and all school holidays, which was always fun. And now I'm actually back in the community, working in the community, have a part-time job working with all the little Indigenous kids down in Redfern, and that's what keeps my connection strong as well. At school, there was a point at school where I was like, you know, what am I good at? So I remember there was a point at school, and I just about a month, there was a period at school where before I go to bed every night, I'd pray and I'd be like, God, can you just tell me what I'm good at? Like, where am I going? Like, and then I found this really strong drive in my art class, and I found myself really excelling in my art class. And I just naturally developed this passion for it, and it was just one of those things where, you know, I could go down into the art studios and just turn the radio on and spend hours down there and lose track of time, and I just started developing this big passion for it. It was also, as a teenager, it was a good point of expression too, so I could, you know, express all the things that I wanted to through my art making. So it started in my art classroom with my art teacher, I must say, And you know, I started to become top of my class at art in this big fancy school that I was at. So that's what drove me, that's what, you know, sparked the flame inside of me. And then one day I went and visited my brother after school, and he said to me, "Sis, why don't you become a teacher?" And I said, "What? Why a teacher?" And he said, "Oh, because, you know, they get good holidays and it's good pay, and when you have kids, you'll have your breaks with them." And he said, "You'll be deadly working with all those kids." I went home and it sort of festered in my brain for 2 years after he said that. And then, yeah, I thought, yeah, a teacher, that's what I want to do. And I thought, why not combine this love I have for, you know, talking a lot and working with people and art, and why don't I just mix them together? And I've always been driven too, like in my life, I don't want to just go down a career path that impacts me positively. I want it to have a flow-on effect with other people, and that's what teaching, I think, gives me. So that's why I've combined both my passions of art and teaching together, and that's why I'm studying art education. You know, by showering kids with encouragement and, you know, love and care and all those things, they're just simple life, they're just simple human necessities. And I think, like, by bringing that into your teaching practice, you're just showing kids that you know, you are an example of what they can also achieve. So by being a source of inspiration for them, I think that's really important. So yeah, so you can feel the vibrancy coming off students in your classroom when you just stand up there with confidence and give them compliments and encourage them and tell them that they can be anything that they want to be. I think that's the key thing, making sure that you never ever, you know, you never ever shut kids' dreams down, because you got to make sure that you leave it open to whatever they want to be. If they want to be an astronaut, you say you can be one. If they want to be an art teacher, you say, yeah, you can be one. Just from, you know, personally being in a school where, you know, the environment was challenging, culturally it was challenging. I think if you create that really safe environment, kids will prosper within it, because, you know, if you're in a safe environment, you feel like you can, the students will feel like they can grow within it. And like, for example, at the school I went to, it was very different socially to where I came from. And there was one little room in the school that I felt safe in, and that was the teacher who looked after all the Indigenous girls. That was the room I felt safe in, and I think if you can create that safe, that room got me through high school, and that teacher got me through high school. So I think just keeping that safe environment for them, I guess you just have to make coming to school more appealing than walking around all day on the streets. I guess you as a teacher, it's your job to make your classroom exciting for your students. You know, you want your students to wake up in the morning and go, oh, we're doing this today in class, so I'm definitely going to go to school. You know what I mean? So you've got to make it exciting for them, because education's such an exciting thing, and if it's dull, then naturally they're not going to want to come to school.